life, right? It throws curveballs, big ones, small ones, challenges around every corner.
Absolutely. It's almost like a universal truth, isn't it? No matter who you are or what you do, obstacles are inevitable.
Yeah. But what if, and stick with me here, what if those challenges, the things we see as roadblocks, are actually like the starting point for something bigger?
Okay, I'm intrigued. You're talking about turning those stumbling blocks into stepping stones.
Exactly. And that's precisely where this book, The Five Routes to Making Monumental Impact, comes in. You brought this to the table, and I have to say, it's pretty thought-provoking stuff.
It definitely challenges you to think differently. And in a nutshell, that's what we're aiming to do today. Take the core ideas from this book and give you a sort of shortcut to understanding how to make a real difference, a lasting one.
A deep dive, if you will.
Love it. A deep dive into impact. And one of the most fascinating ideas right out of the gate is this concept that every solution we come up with, no matter how good, inevitably creates a new problem down the line.
Whoa, it's like a constant cycle, right? Solve one thing and boom, something else pops up.
Exactly. And it's within this cycle, this ebb and flow of problem solving, that the book argues individuals become truly impactful. Those who see a challenge and, instead of shying away, lean in.
It makes you wonder, what kind of problems are we talking about?
Wait, that's the beauty of it. The book doesn't limit itself to just one area. We're talking spiritual, social, economic, even things like physical health, relationships, the environment, stuff we haven't even discovered yet.
It's pretty wide-ranging. You start to realize just how much potential there is to make a difference in all these different areas, but where do we even begin?
That's where these 5 routes come in. Think of them like pathways, each leading towards creating that monumental impact the title talks about.
And the first one, appropriately enough, is called the solution-oriented route. Sounds kind of obvious, right? Like, duh, we want solutions.
You'd think so, but it's actually much deeper than just finding answers. It's about developing a mindset, almost like a reflex, to seek solutions first.
Okay, so it's less about the specific problem and more about how you approach problems in general.
Exactly. It's asking, do you see a brick wall and stop dead in your tracks, or do you instantly start looking for ways over, under, around? That's the core of this route. And part of that, the book argues, is understanding that not all problems are created equal.
Right, because a leaky faucet is different from, let's say, world hunger. The scale is totally different.
And the book acknowledges that. It even delves into different strategies for problem solving, like actual frameworks you can use depending on the situation.
I imagine there are a ton of those out there, but finding the right tool for the job, that's key.
Absolutely. But even with the best strategy, even with a brilliant solution, the book makes it clear nothing happens without action. You got to put those ideas into practice.
So true. You can brainstorm all day long, but if you never actually do anything, what's the point? So for those listening, think about the problems you bump into, big or small. What would it look like to approach them with that solution-oriented lens?
It's a subtle shift, but a powerful one. And speaking of powerful, the next route is all about adding a value. So we've talked about fixing what's broken. Now we're going a step further, adding something positive to the mix.
Okay, adding value, it sounds pretty straightforward, but is there more to it than meets the eye?
Definitely. The book goes deep on this, explaining how true value creation starts with understanding people's needs and aspirations. What are they really looking for? What are their pain points, their dreams?
I see. It's not just about slapping on a feature or adding a shiny new thing. It's about meeting a real need, addressing something that truly matters to people.
Precisely. And once you've identified that need, it's about delivering that value effectively. Because what good is a solution if it never reaches the people who need it most?
Right, the delivery method is just as important as the value itself, but there's another layer here, isn't there? In a world where everyone's trying to make a difference, how do you stand out?
The book addresses that too. It talks about the importance of differentiation. What unique value do you bring to the table? What makes your contribution special, impactful?
Makes you think, huh? So, to our listeners, take a look at what you're currently doing in your work, your relationships, anywhere. How are you adding value? Could you be doing more? Doing it differently? It's worth considering.
Absolutely. And as we delve deeper into this idea of contribution, we come to the creative route. Now, this is where things get really interesting. We're talking about harnessing that human ability to think outside the box, to come up with completely new ideas.
I love this part. Creativity isn't just for artists, right? We can all be creative in our own way. And this book argues that creativity is key to making a real impact no matter what you do.
Exactly. It's about unlocking that potential, breaking free from conventional thinking. And the book even provides some practical techniques for doing just that.
Like what? Spill the beans.
Well, think brainstorming, but with specific structures and methods to guide it. Visual mapping, where you connect ideas in a visual way, or even something as simple as looking at a problem from a completely different angle. I bet it even mentions things like the scamper technique, where you think about how you could substitute, combine, adapt, modify, put to other uses, eliminate, or reverse aspects of a problem to generate ideas.
Ooh, I like that. It's like giving your brain a workout, stretching those creative muscles.
It is. But one thing the book emphasizes is that creativity isn't just about the initial spark. It's about experimentation, about trying things out, even if they fail.
Because failure is just part of the process, right? It's how we learn and grow.
Absolutely. It's about iterating, refining your approach based on what you discover along the way. So for those listening, think about a challenge you're facing. Could you approach it with more creativity? What assumptions are you making that you could question? It's about being open to those unconventional, out-of-the-box solutions.
I'm already feeling inspired. But okay, so we've got these creative sparks flying. How do we turn them into something real, something tangible?
That's where the innovative route comes in. If creativity is the spark, innovation is the fire. It's about taking those creative ideas and making them a reality.
So it's like taking that raw creativity and channeling it towards a specific goal.
Exactly. And the book goes deep on what true innovation looks like. It's not just about novelty. It's about creating real-world value. And a crucial part of that is having a clear vision. Where are you going with this innovation? What are you aiming to achieve?
That vision acts like a compass, doesn't it? It keeps you on track.
It does. But the book also highlights something else. Innovation rarely happens in a vacuum. It emphasizes the importance of collaboration, of empowering individuals to contribute their unique talents and perspectives.
Because two heads are better than one, right? And when you have a diverse group of people working together, that's where the magic happens.
Totally. And similar to the creative route, the book reminds us that experimentation and learning from failures are key here. You're not always going to hit a home run on the first try.
So true. It's about embracing those setbacks, figuring out what went wrong, and using that knowledge to move forward. Now, thinking about this, have you ever been in a situation where innovation just seemed to thrive? What made those environments so special? What can we learn from them?
That's a great question to ponder. And it segues perfectly into our final route, which might seem a bit different from the others. We're talking about the service route.
Now, at first glance, this might seem less about, I don't know, taking action and more about, well, serving others. But the book makes a compelling argument that focusing on the needs of others is actually a deeply impactful way to make a difference.
It's a shift in perspective, isn't it? It's not about what you can gain, but about what you can give. And that starts with cultivating a service-oriented mindset. It's about genuinely wanting to help, to contribute to the well-being of others.
And that means understanding those needs, really empathizing with the challenges people face, and finding ways to provide support that truly makes a difference.
It's about going beyond good intentions. It's about serving effectively, making sure your efforts are actually beneficial to those you're trying to help.
But here's the cool thing. The book also talks about how the act of serving others often has a profound impact on ourselves. It can lead to personal growth, a sense of fulfillment, a deeper understanding of our own purpose.
It's like a beautiful cycle, isn't it? Giving back, making a difference in the lives of others, and in turn, enriching our own lives.
I love that. So to our listeners, think back to a time when you truly made a difference in someone's life through an act of service. What motivated you? What did you learn from that experience?
Reflecting on those moments can be incredibly powerful. And as we wrap up our deep dive into these 5 routes, it's important to remember that the book doesn't present them as isolated strategies.
Right. It's not like you have to pick one and stick with it forever. It's more about recognizing that they all work together.
Exactly. The book's conclusion emphasizes the interconnectedness of these 5 routes. It encourages us to draw upon elements from each of them, to weave them together in a way that maximizes our potential for impact.
And it's not a one-time thing either. It's about constantly striving to improve, to refine our approach, to see our work through each of these 5 lenses.
The takeaway here is that making a monumental impact isn't some far-off dream reserved for a select few. It's something we can all achieve by consciously embracing these 5 pathways.
So as you go about your day, ask yourself, which of these 5 routes resonates with you the most right now? What challenges are you facing? What aspirations